Hey there, guys. Sorry for the delay. I promised to make a video after the match. I did it yesterday, but unfortunately, for some reason, it was something like a 22-minute video, something like that. Unfortunately, it just disappeared from my mobile phone as soon as I hit stop recording. And I'm so sorry because I had so many cool ideas that I talked about, and I had like a lot of impromptu things that came into my mind on the spot, and basically a lot of those are probably gone right now. I won't be able to basically go through the same motions, but regardless of that, I'll try my best to basically do another one. So here goes on nothing. So first off, I know that I had requests in the comments section, in some of my previous videos to do like a technical analysis of what happened, detailed technical analysis. There's not much of a detailed technical analysis that you can do, although we will go into the rounds, or at least some of them. Uh, okay, we all saw what happened. It's pretty much what we hoped wouldn't happen, but knew would probably happen. Although we were rooting for Devon, but okay. First off, if someone would ask me what's my thought on this whole, match, like in one phrase, not to put it in one word, but in one phrase, it would be massive structural difference. So that being said, like I discussed about it in one of my previous videos, when someone's wrist is the size of a normal human hip, I don't think it's just a matter of training, prepping, and upping your level within your muscles, tendons, and ligaments, and so on and so forth. Just the frame itself is monstrous. And I know Devon is a big proponent of the whole idea with testing your frame. And I completely agree whenever I grab someone whom I don't really feel like, it feels I'm not comfortable with. Most of the time is because of their frame. And bone structure is some of my one of my biggest concerns when I'm grabbing someone's arm. But yeah, testing your frame against someone like Levan, probably not a good idea. From the go, I want to say one of the nastiest things that happened from this match was Devon's injury. Round two, I know people were looking on the instant replay with the slow motion. They were looking at the bicep, and I know that the injury itself was in the bicep. But I think the reason why that happened was because of the violent attack on his hand and forearm. During the match, as soon as it happened, the weirdest part for me visually was just how how Devon's forearm kind of bent a little bit backwards, like if this is like normal, just it went a little bit like this, and his wrist really suffered some very strange, I would say, back bow. And eventually, all of these muscles pulled on basically the bicep head at one point. So that's probably where the damage occurred. Now, I really do hope this is not as serious as it seems, and I do hope that Devon won't be affected. I heard he has plans for this summer, but maybe once summer is over, I hope as soon as he decides to go back on the table, this will not pose any problem for him. That would be such a pity. Let's see. So, were it not for this injury in round two, would have we been able to see any different outcome? Probably not. Although the like rounds, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, probably we would have seen a little bit of a more interesting fight. Probably we would have seen Devon explore some other lanes and basically just have a few more clues of where the situation would have been. Whereas with this injury, I mean, pretty much round 3 onwards, he was kind of trying to protect his bicep, and he was just locking his humerus against his body, and just trying to go more on the defense, and just kind of like, even when he was attacking, he was not opening up at all. He was more like in a hook position, and yeah, would have been nice to see a few more attempts at the King's move, but also some other things, maybe like sneaking in a press or other things up his sleeve. But I mean, pretty much the overall outcome would have probably been the same. Now, in my mind, when I'm comparing this to Devon's match against Dennis, honestly, I mean, yeah, it kind of looks similar, although, I mean, probably people would say this was even more of a domination, just because of the sheer, aggression and violence going into the pins. Whereas with Dennis, there wasn't such a need. Whereas with Levan, they kind of had their back and forth, which pretty much fueled the aggression on the table. But I guess it's fair to say that the strength gap visually is the same. Now, does this mean that Levan is kind of like, as strong as Dennis? Hard to say, because first of all, this Levan, we have no idea how powerful he is. I mean, I'll get back to this point. He might be a lot more powerful than Dennis, but also with Dennis, you have to remember that his peak, right before his health problems, I mean, his peak during the match with Devon was pretty much kind of similar, kind of like never before seen in terms of size and strength and PRs in the gym. So I'm not sure. Probably the answer to whom might be the guy who might be able to take Levan might be a prime Dennis. Whether or not he would be able to make a comeback, not sure. We're all hoping for it. Now, what else? Well, I mean, as I said in some of my latest videos, unfortunately, in my opinion, the worst outcome actually happened. Not because necessarily Devon lost, but because of the implications of what this holds. Now, again, we have to bring it into the light that first of all, Levan won, which is great, but at the same time, he kind of isolated himself even more within like this, I mean, across this gap in between him and the rest of the planet, basically. So it's a question of who would be able to take on Levan, or why should they even try? I mean, does it even make sense at this point? Yeah, sure, some guys would probably still have the fire, but I mean, yeah, maybe Gennady, maybe a rematch, whatever, or with I don't know, with Dave, or maybe now something with Alex, or maybe something with Vitaly, Jerry Cataret. Yeah, a lot of guys might be interested. Although, in my opinion, I think the results will be, let's say, maybe similar. Again, people, I've seen comments where they compare Levan versus Dave with Levan versus Devon. You have to understand, the Levan that Dave faced is not the same as the one Devon faced. So, yes, it looked a lot more dominating against Devon, but because, now Levan was really, really at a never before seen stage in his career. So, another aspect that I wanted to talk about is I think one of the best things that we could do at this point would be to get both Levan and Devon onto the table with a new match as soon as possible. Why? Because, I mean, look, both of these guys peaked in their own individual careers, but we only saw one face off, which ended pretty much the way we saw. And that leaves us with very little clues outside of, Devon versus Levan. So right now, Devon is at the peak of his game, and we cannot find out just how good he is, because I'm sure he is at level we've never seen him at, and we cannot benefit from that just because he had one match where he lost against Levan. Same with Levan. He might be able to destroy the rest of the planet, but if he lays low for more than, let's say, 6 months, whatever, and he starts tapering down to basically like a normal Levan, although even that form and shape is incredible. Still, I mean, at one point, someone might take a crack at him, and now we'll say this guy is the strongest there's ever been, and people will compare it with the match against Devon without knowing that in the meantime, Levan is no longer the Levan that faced Devon. So that's why I'm saying for both Devon and Levan, I think the best thing that could happen would be to have as many matches as possible so that we can get as many data points as possible as to just how much damage this Devon and this Levan can do against other competitors. Only downside is that Devon looks like he will not be able to do that anytime soon, although I'm really hoping for it. Last night I was talking in my video that never came to be. I was talking about this thing that, in my opinion, probably once Sabin comes back into the circuit, he will be able to probably do something. But not only will he be able or not, but I think he wants to. And lo and behold, I mean, today he basically just uploaded a video, which actually makes it better for me because now I've had a little bit more update into this video, which I hope you'll see. Just because, I mean, yeah, he posted a video saying, Levan, 1 year, I'm ready. I'm not gonna talk about it, not gonna create some drama, whatever, but in 1 year, I'm there, be ready. So, pretty much what I expected. I really was counting like the hours before Sabin would post something after the match, because I can feel just how motivated he has to be to basically take a shot again. He kind of addressed this like, it's okay, let's say it's 1-1, let's have like a more final settlement of this so-called dispute. So yeah, but again, I can't help but think just how unfortunate it is that now for Levan, he's at the peak and probably no one will want to touch it no more. And also for Devon, he cannot go into any battle, unfortunately. I would have really loved to see, like, okay, he loses but without an injury, and a few months later he goes back against some of the other top guys, just so that we can see, I don't know, maybe like a scenario would have been like, okay, Levan crushed him, but he starts whooping everyone else, like Europe, US, Canada, whatever, you name it. So that would have been really cool. I still do hope something similar will happen. Probably I'm forgetting a lot of things from my other video, but yeah, like I said, sometimes once an idea is out and you talk about it and you have a great spew of information and thoughts around it, basically it's gone. You cannot recreate it, and sometimes you cannot even remember the topic on the list. But anyhow, Let me know what you guys thought of this match. I kind of seen some of the comments in some of my previous videos, but yeah, let me know more about these topics that I addressed right now, with his injury, with the fact that right now these athletes stand in this place where, on one hand, it's really nasty because of all the things that I mentioned, but on the other hand, I think that the best thing that could happen would be to put him in as many matches as soon as possible, just to gather as many data points before they start coming down to a more regular shape, I would say. And also, let me know what you think about the whole scenario versus Sabin, or also versus other guys like Gennady or anyone else, Vitaly, who knows. But yeah, I guess this, like I said in the beginning, massive structural change and massive structural difference. You can't really compete with that, so it seems. Yeah, it's way too much, and I mean, guys who are otherwise elite of their own, guys like Matt Mask, Monster Michael Todd, Marcio, and so on and so forth. I mean, although they're great. I mean, you can't help but think, it's worlds apart, which again is kind of a weird thing in the sport, to say the least. But I'll probably make a video about this in more detail some other time. Oh yeah, and I remembered. In the previous video that got busted, I said maybe some of the more, I don't know, maybe some guys who would have some chance, not now, but maybe in the future, would either be like supersized Hermes, or maybe a more experienced Corey West, or I'm not sure, but I think you kind of, once you're at this level, I think you kind of need just that pure size in all types of tissues. I think no matter what type of isolated strength you have, pound for pound, efficiency, endurance, power, explosiveness, when you're arm wrestling a tree trunk or a telephone pole, physics are just against you, no matter what you do, basically. So unless someone's able to have that, wrist close to 28 centimeters or whatever it was on the on-screen overlay when they were introducing the card, I don't think it's even close. I mean, I think Devon had it like 22 and Levan 28. Almost. I mean, yeah, it's a bigger difference than myself versus Devon, and I'm like super skinny. Yeah, so unfortunately, size does win and does matter sometimes, especially in strength-based sports and activities. Although it has combat elements, even in combat, there's a reason why we have weight classes, and it's a tough pill to swallow for multiple. I mean, for a lot of people, including myself, especially myself. We kind of like to daydream about, David versus Goliath, but not always does it happen that way. That's more like an exception if it does happen. Anyway, rambling off, I'm beginning to hit that same 20-something minute mark. So I guess I'll see you guys later. Please do feel free to interact with me down in the comment section below, and let's see what holds up next. I really do hope, and I mean, I do wish Devon a super speedy recovery, and hope this is nothing more than a fluke, and it just looks worse than it really is, because he's probably trying to protect his bicep, and he has that sling type of thing around his neck. made out of his hoodie, but I hope it's just a superficial tear, nothing deep tissue, and also nothing completely, ripped off. Maybe just a partial tear, whatever. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'm out for now. Ciao.